Welcome everyone to the 165th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where we will be looking into Princess Catherine and Prince William. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline and it is so nice to meet you. On this channel, I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology synastry. For those in returning, I take notes on a synastry chart looking at the personal planets, signs, aspects, and birth times, available house overlays as well. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. So if that sounds good to you, like and subscribe to join us twice a week, and let's get right into this one. Starting off with the sun, we have Catherine's sun in Capricorn and William's sun in Cancer. These are sister polarity signs, also cardinal signs. They are opposites and it's a secure relationship. I mean, despite the rumors and everything, like, they're kind of in an institution that kind of forces them to be secure. So in that way it is. They appreciate the differences. Catherine's sun overlaid in William's first house. Catherine really likes William and marriage is possible. Duh. William is energized by Catherine and Catherine is a light in William's life. They both feel positive about the other and they both feel familiar with each other. They both boost the other's self-esteem and Catherine feels like William really gets her. They bring out the best in each other and Catherine feels she can be herself around William. William appreciates the admiration he gets from Catherine, which could be related to, because I don't know how true it is, obviously, because most rumors, how can you determine how truthful they are? But there was a lot of, I guess, sort of like, talk about like Catherine and how much she really admired William and how much she was pursuing him and everything. So potentially, he does appreciate the admiration and attention he got from her. William's sun overlaid in Catherine's 11th house. It's a friendly atmosphere and they accept the differences. Differences seem to be quite a thing here so far. They are non-judgmental of each other and the relationship begins as friends, which I think that is a part of this sort of stories that they met as friends in university, I think it was, or something like that. But also the other sort of I guess the other darker, I don't even know if it's even true, the more alleged sort of urban legend side of the meeting as well. William sees Catherine as someone he can spend time with. Catherine's sun trine William's Venus. There is mutual attraction and they both value each other. It's a harmonious relationship and they're a financially lucky couple, not surprisingly so. They both share common interests and they accept and tolerate each other, which goes back to those sort of differences again. William is willing to do anything to please Catherine and William finds Catherine charming and intriguing. Catherine feels more loving and beautiful around William. Catherine's sun square William's Saturn. William sacrifices his freedom. I wonder in what way that would be. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's something that Catherine is doing now, because obviously being a bit more modern and everything, I don't know if there's something she does that in sort of eyes of royalty would be seen as William sacrificing his freedom or something like that, but that is there. Maybe we'll see a bit more. William is too sensitive to criticism and they both attempt to support the other. Catherine may outgrow William. I mean, kind of in a way. I don't want to say outgrowing William as such, but I feel like from the earlier days where she kind of was seen as this sort of just a young, normal university student, I feel like now her sort of reputation has, outgrown herself really into being this very respected royal, very classy lady that a lot of people like. So I'm not sure, maybe William feels outgrown by that potentially. They both feel mature and William tends to be critical of Catherine. Catherine feels blocked and discouraged by William and Catherine sees William as all the traditions she wants to overcome. It's not shocking to see, is it? They both need to really want this relationship to work. Catherine's sun square William's Pluto. It is love-hate and there's a strong magnetic connection. It is transformative and they both trigger the other's deepest issues. There are power struggles, which I imagine would come from a place of if Catherine does outgrow William. And if, obviously, I think the very obvious ones is William and his all royal family, with Catherine obviously a bit upper class as a commoner, so to speak. But there is that sort of power dynamic. I wonder if maybe as time goes on and Catherine kind of steps into her own power, that challenges William, maybe even his family. They both need to learn not to focus on their ego. They want to learn everything about the other. It's hard to remain just friends after, which we did see how they started off as friends. I don't know if there ever was. I think there was an on and off dynamic or something like that. So I wonder if they kind of just kept going back to each other. I don't know, they tried to be just friends, but they just couldn't do it. They want to learn everything about the other, and there's a possibility to encourage the other's negative qualities, possibility of an unhealthy obsession with the other. I mean, yeah, if there was that sort of like obsession with the other, they couldn't just not return to each other. They both experience emotions they never felt before in a relationship. I am not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure, like, I guess publicly wise, were these the only sort of, I guess, like couple, is this the only relationship they've had as individuals? Because I don't think any other people have come out besides like after their marriage and like alleged affairs and everything. But before that, like if this is a situation of like their first love or whatever, it makes sense. They both want to be dominant, which, yeah. William's Sun, Trine Catherine's Jupiter. They will overdo together and they're good travel companions, which I imagine they would have quite a few, like, you know, a lot of practice at, you know, with the royal family. Them having to travel together, you know, present themselves and everything. There's a possibility of unpredictability, and Catherine boosts William's self-confidence. They both have a desire to make the other happy, which I think is a nice thing. Like, we're seeing they do have this, like, sort of, like, attempt to support the other, and they both want to actually try and make this work. Positive mutual respect will be maintained if they separate. So, obviously they have that, but not necessarily, I guess, where they could go back to a place of, like, being very platonic, you know. Catherine gives William the benefit of the doubt frequently. Okay. William's Sun opposite Catherine's Neptune. There are misunderstandings and William has a lack of trust. I wonder why. There's delusion and deception, and Catherine promises more than fulfills. They both need to be clear with each other, and William believes Catherine is his soulmate. I'm pretty sure, like, Catherine was kind of the only person, like, he had, wasn't he? So it kind of would make sense if, you know, he views her as this sort of soulmate, his first love and everything. But definitely correct me if I'm wrong, like, from what I know publicly and everything, she kind of was the only one. William's Sun, Trine Catherine's Pluto. It's transformative and a productive relationship, which we're seeing transformative again, which definitely on Catherine's part, I would say obviously very different lifestyle. They are fascinated with each other and they both want to get to know each other deeply. Catherine inspires William to dramatically transform, so William's part is a transformation as well. I guess potentially related to all the traditions Catherine wants to overcome, maybe modernizing William in a way. Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else, astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the reading. So now it's time for Moon. We have both their moon signs in Cancer, so they enjoy living together and they both desire a home life, which I think is a very nice thing that these two are on the same page of that. Like, despite any other sort of traditions, I assume those traditions then, if Catherine wants to overcome any, isn't necessarily to do with domestic life or anything like that, because obviously the royal family does prioritize it. So potentially she's on the same page with those sort of issues, but other ones not so much. They may reinforce each other's bad habits. Are we seeing this again where they encourage the other's negative qualities? That's interesting. They understand each other very well. Catherine's moon are overlaid in William's 7th house. There's an accepting atmosphere and Catherine feels secure with William. They want to be together frequently. They complement each other, which makes sense sun sign wise. You know, the Sun in Cancer, Sun in Capricorn, the polarity signs, the complementary signs. William likes Catherine's quirks and William finds Catherine enjoyable, so again, he seems to really enjoy time with her. William wants to support Catherine. William's moon are overlaid in Catherine's 11th house. William sees Catherine as the dream person. We're seeing again, he really views her as like a soulmate person. William feels at ease around Catherine and Catherine feels relaxed around William. They both feel they can be themselves and they're never really mad at each other, which I think would help, like, actually with, because have been seeing they seem to actually want this to work and everything. So that would help, like a nice little gluing factor. Catherine's moon is square William's Saturn. Catherine feels emotionally insecure, and it's a possibility of an awkward relationship, okay? Catherine feels judged by William, which again, as I was saying in it would have been the last video now with Meghan and Harry, it is a bit of a funny one with these readings where it's like, is it like the person or is it the institution behind them? So it's like, is Catherine feeling judged by William or his family and everything, and the whole thing that comes with the royal family, even the media, you could say. William sees Catherine as needy and oversensitive. Catherine's moon is square William's Pluto. Jealousy and emotional manipulation is underlying, which I feel like we're seeing again. William can sense Catherine's unconscious needs and manipulates her with it, which I don't really like seeing, because we did just see he thinks of her as being needy and oversensitive. I don't like those two together. William tends to be controlling over Catherine. The royal family as well. I need to go back to that more in this reading, because I feel like in the last reading I was very quick to jump Harry or his family, but I feel like this one not so much, because there has been a lot of like focus on each other, nothing that could indicate the royal family as such, except these ones where you could see like the royal family being controlling over Catherine and even them being manipulative of her. Both need to let go of the idea that love only exists with control, and they both need to work through power struggles, which not surprisingly, so we did see like they both want to be the dominant one. They both have their sort of ways of doing so. Projection is a challenge and there's deep emotional transformation. They both may need to work through some psychological demons from the past. We did say that how they both trigger the other's issues, so I wonder if this is a real awakening place where they actually uncover those psychological issues and have to deal with them. William's moon is square Catherine's Mars. It's a stormy relationship, an emotional roller coaster. I mean, I guess more so in the beginning of the relationship, I would say, like, looking at like actual photos when they're younger is wild. It's one thing to kind of hear like rumors here and there, like it seems a bit rocky, but whatever. And then to actually see all the photos, it seems to be a bit stormy. Both will need to work out issues as they come. It's a difficult relationship emotionally if there are children. Especially if, like, we're seeing Catherine feels emotionally insecure. I wonder if, I don't know, there's some sort of like issues, because I know obviously the royal family prioritizes like family life and everything. That's the whole brand. But obviously I wouldn't be surprised if even in modern day standards they have specific rules they may need to follow. Maybe those sort of, I guess, like those control tactics and everything makes Catherine emotionally insecure, especially when children come in and everything. They're very reactive to each other and there's a possibility for codependency, which wouldn't be very surprising. Like, obviously Catherine didn't grow up in like the royal family and everything, but they are going through a very unique experience together, so I'm sure they probably do depend on each other quite a lot, especially as like confidants for that. Catherine's independence makes William insecure, which we have already seen. And again, is it William or the royal family? It's hard to relax together and resentment can grow. I didn't point this out yet because I kind of don't want to, but at the same time probably should. There do seem to be, we have seen notes where it is about sort of like, if it ends, it's fine, fine-ish sort of thing. So it is a bit concerning that is there. So the relationship seems to definitely change, maybe not in the best direction as time goes on. William's moon trine Catherine's Jupiter. They have good fortune and there's a possibility of being too excessive, which wouldn't be surprising. It's within the budget of sorts. They're happy in each other's presence and adventure is important in this relationship, which I imagine would go back to the traveling thing. We did see they're able to travel together very well, so I wonder if that is of value to them. Honest communication is easy and Catherine helps William with his emotions. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Catherine's Mercury in Aquarius and William's Mercury in Gemini. These are both air signs. They have abstract conversations and they both tend to be argumentative. It's intellectually stimulating and they share detached and objective values. So there is some sort of shared values which is a good thing. I feel like particularly with like William potentially being a bit more on the traditional side and everything, which this would make me think that maybe the traditions is more so on his family rather than William himself. Catherine's Mercury overlaid in William's first house. Catherine can easily express herself to William, and William finds it easy to understand Catherine. William feels more talkative around Catherine, which would be like obviously create that space for her nurturing his feelings and everything, which we saw her helping with his emotions. William's Mercury overlaid in Catherine's 10th house. Hard to talk about things outside of goals and career. I mean, this isn't to be mean, but what career? I guess you could read this as, hard to talk about things outside of like the royal family and everything, which it is an interesting thing when your family is like your career essentially. So I imagine like you could read this as like hard to talk about things outside of the royal family, even their own family. They're a public couple, duh. Catherine may be fascinated by William, and Catherine tends to idolize William, which we did see right in the beginning that William appreciates the admiration he gets from Catherine. So potentially there was a bit of an element of like Catherine idolizing William, which is not surprising. Like, it being in that situation where like you have a prince in close proximity to you, you're a young girl, he's kind of your age. I don't blame Catherine, like kind of good for her if she's, was her sort of like, not a fan, her sort of celebrity crush, you could say, and she got with him. That's it. I don't blame her. It's a possibly one-sided relationship, and they may like to work together. I mean, in a sense, they do. Their Mercuries are trying together, so there's easy communication, and they solve problems similarly. They enjoy learning from each other, and there's a mutual understanding, complementary ideas and thoughts, and they hold similar views. Misunderstandings are unlikely. I mean, there's a foundation for it to happen. We have seen the negatives, but mostly positive so far when it comes to communication and everything. Catherine's Mercury trine William's Mars. William stimulates Catherine's mind, and William energizes Catherine. William helps Catherine develop her ideas, which we did see how William wants to support Catherine. So I wonder if there is some sort of projects or anything she is doing related to, even her own little career things. I'm sure she has some sort of thing going on. Catherine teaches William how to be more reasonable, and they both move forward in this relationship. I wonder, I guess, in more specific terms of William moved forward, like I guess that, there's the very obvious of Catherine. But I wonder, I guess with William, potentially it is a bit more maybe personal. We are seeing how Catherine like helps him with his emotions and everything. So I wonder if more so as an individual he moves forward. Catherine helps William to problem solve, and they have healthy intellectual competition. They work well together, and they enjoy debating together, which I think we're seeing again. William takes Catherine's words personally. Okay. Catherine's Mercury square William's Jupiter. It's a relationship that expands consciousness, and William helps Catherine go through hard times with optimism. Promising more is a problem, which we did see how, I think it was on Catherine's, and she makes promises she cannot fulfill, so that is there. There's a habit of interrupting, and William is frustrated with Catherine's analytical approach to life. Okay, I guess you could see this as, not to say the royal family is illogical, but, it's more based on tradition than anything else. And when Catherine comes in, potentially more modern thinking, something just simply does not work anymore. It doesn't make sense for tradition to go on. Maybe the royal family is upset with her sort of approach to things. William may come off as holier than thou. I mean, I think at some point he would, particularly in the first stages. There's a lack of understanding regarding each other's ideas, and there's communication difficulties. There's frequent misunderstandings, and there's a strong mental and intellectual bond. Debates can turn into arguments, and they have different philosophical views. William's Mercury trine Catherine's Venus. Catherine is attracted to William's intellect, and they respect each other's thoughts and ideas, which there seems to be a mixed bag when it comes to how, I guess, complementary or similar their ideas are. It seems like there is an even mix, which, I think healthy. There's warm communication, and Catherine softens William. They're sensitive to each other, and they share mutual friends, which obviously they would have had to kind of run in the somewhat same circles for them to actually cross paths. You know, I think even though, you know, Princess Diana did what she could, you know, with William and even like Harry when they were younger and sort of putting them into, I think it was public school she put them in. Even then, you're gonna kind of be a bit isolated as well, you know, enjoy the same movies and music, and William helps Catherine verbalize her feelings. So it looks like there's a fairly mutual thing when it comes to feelings and everything. William's Mercury trine Catherine's Mars. This is a repeated aspect, just inverted. So everything from before is further emphasized, but also Catherine stimulates William's mind and Catherine energizes William. Catherine helps William develop his ideas, and William teaches Catherine how to be more reasonable. William teaches Catherine to problem solve, and Catherine takes William's words personally. There is a lot of, I feel like communication and that sort of intellectual rapport seems to be a very strong theme here with these two. William's Mercury opposite Catherine's Uranus. Catherine finds William's opinions as superficial or traditional. I mean, definitely traditional. And again, is this William or the royal family? They're impatient with each other and there's stressful communication. There is that as well. Like, especially we did see how they tend to debate a lot. It seems like to me, they seem to spend a lot of time together and obviously conversing together. And it seems like, as it would naturally occur, sometimes, you know, little things can turn into arguments. And I imagine in those areas that is where communication would be stressful. William finds it hard to depend on Catherine and they have interruptive conversations. Catherine stimulates William mentally and they make impulsive decisions together. Interesting. So now it's time for Venus. We have Catherine's Venus in Aquarius and William's Venus in Taurus. These are both fixed signs. They clash frequently and it's an inconsistent relationship, which we did see in the beginning, that more on and off dynamic. I feel like with the clashing frequently, which we also have been seeing all the arguments and everything, but I wonder if that is a part of, I guess, why things seem to deteriorate and I guess not be, you know, growing for the better as such. Like, this feels like a relation. I don't want to say like ages like cheese or anything. That's the first analogy that came to my head. But it doesn't seem like a relationship that necessarily gets like stronger with time. It feels like sort of more issues come up and a bit more resentment grows than normal. William helps Catherine appreciate the small things, and William likes Catherine's unique qualities. I think we're seeing again, he likes her quirks and everything, so that's nice. Catherine doesn't like William's need for stability. Oh gosh, which this, I imagine, is a bit more royal family oriented because, of course, William would get that from his family. Like, I don't think, you know, he could necessarily pull, you know, I don't know, having a bunch of relationships being very unstable in that way. So this is kind of a both thing, isn't it? Catherine's Venus overlaid in William's first house. Catherine is attracted to William and Catherine enjoys being seen with William. So there definitely is that element. Like, you know, there are those sort of like rumors and the whole other side of their meeting where it's like Catherine was like really pursuing William and everything, trying to force it to work and everything, and ta-da! William is flattered by Catherine, and William over time may not appreciate the shallow admiration. That would be, we haven't seen anything, but it would be very interesting if that sort of fangirl in Catherine kind of stayed on during their relationship, and maybe in that way he doesn't appreciate the shallow admiration, and that is maybe his part of resentment building up here. Catherine doesn't pay attention to the regular William. Interesting. Like, we did see how she helps him with his emotions and everything, so there is some depth. Potentially she doesn't pay attention to that side of things as much as Prince William. William's Venus overlaid in Catherine's 10th house. Work is their focus and they work well together. Again, not surprisingly so. William sees Catherine as someone that can help him improve his status. Interesting, which I guess you could see this as, you know, maybe him wanting to have a family and settle down fairly quickly instead of, like, I don't know, sowing his royal oats or anything like his father did. I think Charles was like a lot older when he got married and everything. So I wonder if, I don't know, he just wanted to have like a family and establish that sort of like, I don't know, like a stable character reputation, you know? Catherine sees William as having talent in areas she lacks, and their areas of expertise complement each other, Again, it seems like the differences are more complementary than solid differences. They respect each other's strengths and skills, and it's a productive and profitable relationship, not surprisingly so. They both want to be the boss. Again, that dominance they have. Catherine's Venus, Trine William's Mars. William enjoys spending time with Catherine, as seeing again, and Catherine makes William feel confident and desirable. Which I wonder, like, we haven't really seen anything super specific towards Catherine, if that makes sense. Like, in terms of, like, admiration and everything, like, I'm sure William had a bunch of other people in his orbit as well that would have been, you know, giving him attention and everything. So I'm not sure exactly, like, what Catherine would have done particularly differently. I mean, there is that dress incident, but that is also heavily rumored. Like, did Catherine know William was going to be there, blah, blah, blah. So maybe it is that, but there seems to be something special about Catherine to William, you know, and we did see he sees her as a soulmate and everything, so it could just be, you know, it could just be the one, no explanation required. There's strong romantic feelings, and it is fulfilling, and the feeling of love never fades away, which I imagine with the resentment growing and everything, that is what would probably, you know, bring them together, in a way, keep them together, a gluing factor. So now it's time for Mars. We have both their Mars signs in Libra, so they are protective of each other, which we did say the codependency, so it could be in that way. They compromise with each other and they deal with conflict together well. The relationship lacks decisiveness. I wonder, because we did say they make impulsive decisions together, I wonder if maybe both of them naturally aren't quite decisive, because I don't think we've seen anything else in terms of decision making or anything. So I wonder if, you know, generally they lack decisiveness, but they will impulsively make a decision together last minute. Catherine's Mars overlaid in William's 9th house. There's a strong need to travel together, I think we're seeing again, and they have easygoing chemistry. Catherine is more straightforward around William, and Catherine feels she can have a good time with William. Catherine is drawn to William. William's Mars overlaid in Catherine's 3rd house. William is more blunt around Catherine, so both of them seem to be quite straightforward communication-wise, which seems to be the case. It is just a lot out in the open, and with that comes, you know, potential for issues to come, which natural. Catherine may intimidate William, and Catherine is sensitive to William's intensity, okay? Catherine's Mars conjunct William's Mars, so there's straightforward communication, again, not surprisingly so. There is healthy competitiveness, and they identify with each other on a basic level. They inspire each other to do their best, and they may be physically active together, which I feel like would be related to travel and everything. It's easy for them to get into conflicts. The foundation seems to be there. I imagine, like, if you're together all the time communicating and everything. Catherine's Mars conjunct William's Saturn. Catherine sees William as controlling. Again, we're seeing this literally again, and also, is it William or the royal family? Catherine respects William's wisdom, which I imagine if Catherine is a bit, has a bit of idealization with William, you know, being a prince and everything, you know, there is a potential for her respecting the sort of tradition of the royal family. Catherine tries to win William's respect. I mean, this could very well be both, because, you know, if he's a, like, prince and everything, of course she's going to try win him over a bit, but then again, he's family as well, she has to try win the respect of. I wonder as well, because we did see a couple times how William appreciates Catherine's quirks. I wonder if that is something, that part of that, maybe they thought she was a bit quirky or a bit unique or something in what way, and that is why she goes out of her way to try win their respect. They both need to be considerate, and it's a potential to be a good learning experience. I mean, you know, I think they got together on and off, like, when they were younger, so they learned. Clearly, they're still married. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, comment your thoughts below. I would be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one. Overall, decent reading, I guess, kind of in line with what they seem to be. Also, the whole the whole resentment thing building up is a bit interesting. And understandably, if people do sense that, why there's a lot of rumors about, you know, affairs happening and all of that. And if you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings twice a week. And besides that, give this video a like, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. And a shout out to my astrology enthusiast, John Hawker James Vlog. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you would also like a shout out and get early access to new videos, click the join button below to join the memberships. There are 2 tiers, the observers and enthusiasts. And thank you again, John Hawker James Vlog, for supporting the channel.